a mistake. Not really a mistake, but the network was very, very unstable. So let's wait for a bit for Mr. Guto to join us here, and we'll take it from there. Okay, Mr. Guto will be here any moment from now. So Mr. Guto will be here shortly. So like I said before, I want to wish you all a very beautiful Christmas. As the year comes to an end, I wish you a happy celebration. Let's wait for Mr. Guto to be here. So Mr. Guto was talking about Giddaa, how Giddaa works, how what Giddaa is all about, the inspiration behind Giddaa. So Giddaa gives you access to finance for home ownership. So how Giddaa gives you access to finance for home ownership. Then he talked about the inspiration behind Giddaa. He mentioned he knew someone that worked with the FMBN, and there's been a whole lot of um, difficulty in assessing finance and mortgage when it comes to NHF and all that. So he said that he had to look for a process or a platform whereby people can own properties seamlessly, right? So putting all options on one platform, access to NHF, banks, developer payment plan, everything is under Giddas, right? So those that want to buy property small, Giddaa is for you, right? So yeah, so far that's what he has said about. We're still waiting for our guests. Yeah. Let's wait for our guests to be here so that we can proceed. Sorry about the inconvenience for today. We no go gree. Yes, that's it. That's it. The network was really super amazing, but we're back on now. Still waiting for Mr. Giddaa to connect so that we can move forward. Hmm. Giddaa has a lot of interesting questions. I have a lot of interesting questions here for Giddaa, you know, and I bet you he has a lot to say about all this. Add guess. Thank you so much, Eden, for joining. Thank you. Hi, Guto.
Hi, Cynthia.
Sorry for the whole network thing. I had to switch office. In fact, I had to switch routers so that we can have this section. So let's not.
Your, net- your network is still hanging a bit, though.
No, I think that's from your end then, because my it's full here. The Wi-Fi is better here.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So could you just summarize what you said from number question one to question two? Can you explain how Gida works? What is inspiration? What was the inspiration behind creating Gida? Just briefly, 2 minutes.
Um, so Giddaa is a platform that allows people buy houses on mortgages and payment plans.
Okay.
Now, this could be mortgages from different banks, payment plans from different developers. And then what else? There was the inspiration for Giddaa. So the inspiration for Giddaa is allowing people to buy homes easily wherever they are in the world. That's
Mm,
essentially inspiration. That comes from living in the diaspora and seeing that there's no secure, trusted, and transparent way for you to buy a house in Nigeria. So what we did was create a place where through the home buying process, you're able to find a house online, buy that house online, look at the different plans available for the house, submit your documents online, get approval, rejection online,
mm.
pay online, and continue repayments online.
Well, thank you for that, Gida. So how does Gida uses technology to simplify the home buying process? How does
So,
technology come into play now?
so part of the home buying process is one, you are essentially the home buying process. You're essentially one looking for, you're gaining interest in a house. You're looking for that property to buy.
Mm,
After you look for that property, you don't need to look for ways to buy that property. So what
mm,
we've to essentially make everything digitized. So through technology, we're able to easily find properties. When you easily find those properties, you're also able to submit documents for those properties online. Um, and then you have different. So we provide access to different options. So you have
mm,
different options in one place. So technology is helping us curate all the different options and make it easily consumable for a user coming on the platform to know what they can afford, and
mm,
then basically apply for properties on plans that they can afford, submit their
mm,
documents online rather than physically going to somebody's office, which basically constrains the marketplace. So rather than
mm,
constraining the market, we made it more open because everything can be done 100% online. So you submit documents online, you get your approval or rejection online. So when you apply for a mortgage or a payment plan, you're able to know if the developer or bank wants to proceed with you as an
mm,
applicant.
mm,
Then you can also make your payments online, and then you can also have repayments done online. So and you're able to see the whole repayment schedule. So basically, what you're paying, what you've paid, and the whole schedule. You can see all of that online. So yeah, that's what we've done.
mm, mm. Thank you for that. How do you also improve transparency in the real estate sector? How do you improve transparency?
So transparency, what we've done is essentially make it pretty easy for you to know who you're working with. So we work directly with the owners of the plans and work with banks. So we work directly with the developer. That's one.
Mm.
Rather than working through an agent, inflate the price or something like that. We work directly with the developer you're buying that property from. We
Yeah.
also work directly with the bank. So
Mm.
that's one way to increase transparency and just make sure that you know that prices are not inflated. Another thing that we do is we essentially make it easy for you to know the people you're working with. So we interview any developer we sign on board and bank, typically interview the executive management so that you know you're able to put a face to the people you're planning to work with. And also, we typically, obviously, we have different security procedures and stuff like that. I'm also doing due diligence, so working with a legal agency
Yeah.
so that properties that you have, you can run due diligence checks on them, and then you get
Mm.
reports for that due diligence check. So the agency will check to make sure that this property has no land issues, has
Yeah.
no, you're buying it from the original owner,
Yeah.
as just making it secure. So those are the three different layers: interviews with the people you're working with, property due diligence, and
Mm.
what's the last one I said? Also, yeah, working directly with the people that own
Direct.
the
That only
property.
you're putting a face. You're putting a face to whoever you're buying from. Thank you so much for that, Gida. Then how does Gida help people secure homes through mortgage or developers payment plan? How does Gida do that? How do you help people secure homes through mortgage?
So there are different plans. So each developer or bank has a plan on the system, and then it is you said mortgages. So mortgages banks. So if you're going through a mortgage, you can look at the
Yeah.
bank, see all the different plans that that bank has, and you can
Mm.
apply that plan. You can apply for a house on that plan. So let me give an example. Let's say you have a plan called Family Life Plan, and it's owned by a bank. Let's create a fictitious bank. So it's owned by a bank called First Central Bank. Now, First Central Bank has a plan called Family Life Plan, and you've seen a house, let's say number 26 Omari Street. Now,
Okay.
you can own number 26 Omari Street on Family Life Plan, which is sold by First Central Bank. So easily you're able to just see this house that you like, you're able to see the plan that you can afford, and then you can apply through that that plan, that house for that house through that plan to First Central Bank. Now First Central Bank will give you updates saying whether they want to approve your mortgage or not,
Mm.
essentially.
Okay. So if I get you correctly, right? We use let's say we're using the first central bank, like you said, right? So you're creating a platform, you've created a platform whereby um the bank is there, they're able to tell you this is what we do, this is our payment plan, this is our interest rate, and stuff like that. And you're able to
Exactly.
pick a payment plan through from your platform, you're able to pick a developer, you're able to pick the kind of mortgage you want to assess and all that. Is that what you said? Is that what you mean?
Yes, that is what I mean. So each plan has interest rates, has down payments. Basically, they have details. So details include things like the down payment, the interest rate, the maximum amount that that bank or that developer is willing to issue, and
Okay.
you're able to apply. You also can see what you can afford. So on each plan, so you have monthly payments. So you know that you're able to see the monthly payments you're going to be making for this plan and the
If it's something
duration.
you can afford or not.
Exactly. So we also, well, that's something we also show our users. We show you immediately whether you can afford a property on a plan. So you just have a small tag there that says affordable or unaffordable. So most likely go for what is affordable.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. So, what are some unique features of the Gida platform that sets it apart from the traditional real estate platform? What are those
Uh,
special things about Gida? You have some special things about Gida. Can you let us know, please?
yeah. So one, I think Gida is the only property platform I've seen in Nigeria. Maybe I've not seen anything like what we've done because you're able to curate plans. So the plans really set it apart. You're able to see different plans that you can access houses on. And you're also able to see another thing that is unique is that you can see if you can afford the property directly on the property or not, and directly on the plan. Rather than having to go and calculate anything, we're just showing you directly whether you can afford the property or not. And that. Giddaa is also a financing marketplace. So essentially, what we've done is curate in Nigeria anyway, sets it apart is, well, everything listed on the platform is available on either formal financing, which is mortgages, or informal financing,
Informal.
which is developer payment plans.
Mm.
Another thing that sets Giddaa apart is that the whole process can be done online. So you can do this whole process online, and you can actually apply. So most mortgage platforms are in Nigeria, there's no output because you can't
Mm.
apply for things. You need to go and fill out an inquiry form, then somebody will come and get back to you and stuff like that. But on Gida, you can actually apply and you can track your process, able to see where you are on the whole process when you
Mm.
apply. So those are some things that really set it apart.
Mm. Thank you so much for that. So, what measures does the Giddaa take to verify the authenticity of properties listed on the platform? Back to due diligence. How do you onboard your developers? What are those things you look out for before onboarding any developer?
So first of all, we need to make sure that developers are original. We do things like we check their CeeC, Red Down certificate just to make sure they're part of the Real Estate Development Association of Nigeria. Check,
Mm.
yeah, so we do that. We also check their CeeC to make sure the developers are real. And obviously,
Mm.
developers have this may be something that may be more back end, but developers have reputations. So we're also going to say, hey, is this person a good person to work with? We have people that we talk to and say, is this developer a good developer for us to work with or not?
Mm.
And we also look at the projects that they have completed. So we like working with developers that have previous history of actually
The
completing.
history, very important. History.
Yeah. So that's one thing we do. And again, we allow people to perform due diligences on their house. So before you buy a house, we strongly encourage you to perform a due diligence on that property so that you make sure that that property is legit and you can see it for yourself. You get the reports, from ages, from the law firm basically performs a report on from ages, AMAC, and you're able to now see, oh, this property is legit, this person is the owner of the property. So what that report will contain is if the property is legit, if the owner of that land is the developer, or if they've gone into like a joint venture with somebody. So you're
Mm.
essentially ensuring that you know the history of this land and the history of this
Mm.
house.
Mm.
So yeah,
So, from what, okay, go ahead,
yeah,
please.
and you can also be sure that every developer listed on Gida is a developer that is legit. So it's a developer that we've checked, we've done their due diligence and all that. And also as a user, to even bolster this a lot more, we've created a profile for developers where you can actually go and see their CAC. You can download their CAC. You can see
Mm.
their redance certificates and any other documents that they want to use to make sure that they are more legitimate. Because again, we're targeting Nigerians in Nigeria, but also Nigerians abroad who have
That's
had
correct.
of people coming there, people being born. So we want to make sure that it's clear
So
and they actually.
outside that, we all know that Nigerians in diaspora are very mistrusting.
Yeah, I won't say I won't say I
Good, are you sure you're not good? So are you sure you're not part of them? You people are very mistrusting, very, very, very mistrusting.
I mean, it's not our fault now. Like there are things that have happened in the past that have made it big.
Okay.
So
So you mentioned, now you look at the previous history of these developers. What have they done? How's their projects? Are they sustainable projects? How's the property doing? That's a previous project. They look at their CAC registration. If really this person, that this CEO is tied to the company, like you said, let there be a face to whatever developer that you're working with. And thirdly, you mentioned you only partner, you see their reading certificate. So that means that all your partners are members of the Real Estate Developer Association of Nigeria. Is that what you're saying?
yes, but I won't say it's a major necessity to be part of Redan. It's just a
Okay.
nice to have. What is really
Okay.
important to us is that you have a history of delivering projects,
Mm,
and that you're legally entered. So essentially, your CAC is you're an entity that we can work with, and you have
mm,
of delivering projects. Redan is just an additional layer to say, okay, if you're part of Redan, then it means you're even more responsible. And
mm,
we show this to our customers on their side of the application under the developer profile, so that they know who to work with. Our job is to provide you our customers with information that you feel secure enough to work with a particular organization?
Thank you so much. You have said well, but please, Nigerians in diaspora that are watching this, please try to be a little bit less mistrusting. So
I
let
don't blame I don't blame them.
I
I
don't
don't.
blame them too. They've been burnt several times. So what's the future roadmap for Gida? Are there any other new features or improvement? We all know that they say start from somewhere, start from where you are, start from what you have, and you will definitely improve. So we want to know what are those improvements, because he said the sector is a large sector, and if we decide to fix it, there's a whole lot of things that can be fixed. So what are those new features? Because the more you get to um, know about it, the more solution you provide, the broader it becomes, the more you begin to see new things. So what new features are you looking at? What's the future plan? What's the roadmap for Gida?
So I'll speak on a on a high level. So high level, what we are looking to work with is one, we see value in creating something for organizations. So if you're an organization, let's say like Dolphin Realty now wants
Mm,
you you want your employees to access mortgages or financing, we're able to partner with you to basically spread to different banks that can offer you more favorable deals. So we're creating
mm,
something model. We're also going to be creating a cooperative model where essentially cooperatives can register and basically have their members own homes either through mortgages or working with developers, making that
mm.
process easier. On the customer side of things, obviously, we're going to make more payment options. One of the things we're looking to incorporate is the PENCOM RSA. We're looking to make it easy for people to be able to use their pension to actually make down payments as a
Yeah,
new method. Also looking to work with different, more payment providers, people that provide down payment. One of the issues that, especially for mortgages, that we face is people find it difficult to make their initial down payment. So we're looking to work with different down payment assistant companies so that they're able to, provide down payments for our users to make it more comfortable.
okay. Okay. Thank you so much. How does Gida contribute to the broader goal of affordable housing in Nigeria? Gida, are you there? Hmm. This is becoming very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. He's gonna be back on shortly. So this is where the heat is on. This network today has just not cooperate. I don't know. So the question I asked Gida was, how does Gida contribute to the broader goal of affordable housing in Nigeria? People feel affordable housing is a myth. They feel it's not possible. So let him tell us how he okay. He's gonna join shortly. Just give him a little time. How does Gida contribute to the broader goal of affordable housing? I think this is a particular question I'm very, very interested in. Like I'm very, very, very much interested in. We all know the issue of affordable housing in Nigeria. Most people think affordable housing is a myth. Is it really a myth? You know, we really need to find out. Mm. This network. Our section is supposed to end by 5. We have 4 minutes left. So, yeah. Mm. But the last question is what? We have two more questions actually. He has answered. He was about answering one before the network went out. So the last question is, what impact do you believe Gida will have on the real estate sector in Nigeria in the long term? For me, my opinion, I think Gida is going to impact the real estate sector so well. Like you, okay, let me give a brief story where the just concluded Redan conference, right? And I think is it NMRC? They were there to give us a talk, and a developer stood up and asked, "Why is it that even when now let me tell you how it works. If probably you want to access a property, NHF mortgage, right? The FMBN, which is the primary mortgage financiers of Nigeria, now you cannot go directly to FMBN. You have to work with a primary mortgage bank, right? So the primary mortgage bank reports or get finance from the FMBN, right? Now, the developers work with the primary mortgage banks to then get to the end users. So if you want to buy property or you want to access your NHF, you've been a contributor of NHF and you want to buy property through NHF. So what you do is you get to a primary mortgage, but first of all, you get the kind of house that you want. What kind of property do you want? You see something that suits your budget. Then after that, you assess the primary mortgage bank. Say, hey buddy, so this is the primary mortgage bank. Hey buddy, I want to buy a property. I've seen this developer, he suits my budget. He accepts payment via mortgage. So I want to buy a property. Now you get to this, then the primary mortgage bank get that finance from the federal mortgage bank. It's a process, and this process is so manual, right? This process is so manual. You don't even know. Oh, Ngutor is here. You don't even know when the funds is being released. Yeah, back. Thank you so much, Ngutor, for joining us again. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sorry.
So let me go back to question number 9. How does Giddaa contribute to the broader goal of affordable housing in Nigeria?
That's an interesting question. So for affordable housing to be a reality,
Mm,
there's something we are pioneering called the home ownership virtuous cycle. Now, that home ownership virtuous cycle starts with one, increased demand. So you get increased demand by making supply more accessible. Currently, supply is not very accessible. When I say supply, I mean things like the houses available on financing, the plans. They are not very accessible to the public. It's almost like the mortgage industry is hiding, or the home financing industry is hiding. What we're doing is to make them public, make them out there. So by making them out there, what you see naturally is that will lead to increased demand.
yeah.
Once you have increased demand, you're able to then supply. Because of demand, we create more supply, and supply is able to create even more demand. So once you have increased demand, you have supply that has access to money. So they have the people that, because of this demand, banks and even developers will be able to build more. They can take more loans from even DFIs, from pension funds, from banks that will now want to supply them financing because they have demand to prove that they can support this financing. Once that is done, then you're able to obviously, have even more financing for them. And once you have more financing, you're able to uh, pass on what I would call discounts. So currently, interest rates are pretty high. So because of this more supply and more financing in the economy, or this home financing sector industry, you're then able to reduce interest rates, and that creates first of all a marketplace to create natural competition, which should reduce people's interest rates. And also because you have supply and I expect to see specialized financing for real estate, which would then lead to interest rates. One of the key things people make decisions when financing a home is interest rates. They want to make sure that it's low for them and they can afford it. So because interest rates are lower due to the influx of financing, that would lead to even more increased demand. So
Mm,
what we're doing is pioneer this whole process, and it starts with one, making everything accessible, making the supply side more accessible for people to see that this mortgages are real. People are getting mortgages in Nigeria. You can actually access these things, making it easy for them to basically access homes on financing, which would then
mm,
lead to demand, which would increase supply and financing for the supply side, which will lead to for the supply side passing on discounts in terms of interest rates to the demand side, which will lead to even more increased demand. That increased demand will lead to even more supply, which leads to even more financing. So basically, creating this rotary, this virtuous cycle, is what we're looking to do. And yeah, that's where we think we'll find ourselves. It's gonna take some time, but something that we believe we're in it for the long run, and we're starting with the increasing access to supply, which would increase demand for the supply side. That's our goal right
Hmm.
now.
Hmm. I think that's quite intelligent. The whole virtual cycle. It's quite intelligent. And like you said, or like I said before, now start from where you are. You can only improve and enhance.
Yeah.
And this is technology that we're talking about, right? So we can always improve, can always do better. So the last question, briefly, what impact do you believe Gida will have on the real estate sector in Nigeria in the long term?
I believe I believe Gida would serve the real estate sector very much. I believe it's an ecosystem. So I believe
Mm,
one, great transparency. It's a great transparency. I believe would increase partnerships between banks and developers, which would make more houses available on financing. I also believe that
exactly.
through Gida, you would see you would see a lot more finance coming into the country in the long term for real estate, and I think that will come in from because of the demand that it will generate. I also see
Mm,
diaspora being more comfortable to buy homes using our platform. So
yeah.
I think in the long run will be we would serve as the technology infrastructure to help power the home financing market. So
Okay.
that's where I think we would play. And I think in terms of what that would bring into the country, I think to bring in financing, I think to bring in trust, I think to bring in far more properties available on financing
Mm,
because developers will be more comfortable to partner with banks, which is not the case today.
mm. Thank you so much. This is a very powerful section, Gida. I was telling the audience what my experience in the last Readan conference, right? So while when the NRMC, NMRC, they were giving they actually gave a lecture, and after that, a developer stood up and asked, how do we monitor the process from you releasing the funds to the developer? How do we know the fund is being released? Do we sit in our houses and be wondering what is going on with the PMBs? Then I stood up. He didn't answer the question straightforward. He wasn't straight about the question. He wasn't straight to the point. And I stood up and I said, this is where technology can actually come in and make everything better. The process has to be so manual. Let's try to make it, let's try to bring in technology into this. So I think what you're doing is solving a general problem. And like you said, it's going to create more accessibility to home financing on home financing or home ownership. It's going to make the whole process seamless, and it's going to bring a lot of trust. Because
Yeah,
when you are aware that you're more the PMBs or the FMBN, your funds have been released from FMBN to the PMBs, you're able to track the funds. You'll be able to put pressure on the developer. There will be no room for hanking pankies. So I think
that,
Ida is doing a lot. I think Ida is doing a lot, and we can only do better, right? This is technology we're talking about here. Nothing is impossible. So
yeah.
thank you so
And
much.
just to touch base on what you just to touch base on what you said. So people focus on FMB and NHF, which
We lost Gida again. I don't know. I think his network. The network today wants to just spoil my shine. But you cannot. Here, thank you for. Okay, he's back on. Okay, good. So go ahead, please.
yeah, I think can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I think people focus on NHF, but there are a lot more plans available. There are
Mm,
plans from banks and there are also like plans from developers. So just making all that available into one place, and as you said, making sure that developers can track what banks are doing if they partner together, is is pertinent. So essentially, just making it transparent for everyone involved in the process what we are
Mm.
doing. But I would like to say that NHF is a beautiful plan, but people can also like look at your situation and look at what plan best fits you. This
Best
is why we
fit you need. Yeah. Yeah.
get Gida. For some
Mm.
people, NHF might not be what they need. So part of that process, what we're doing is that you can actually come and consult with people at our company at Gida, where you can
Mm.
say, let's find you the best plan because we have the technology ecosystem or the infrastructure. So let's find
Mm.
you what's available for you. So that's something you can also do. So yeah, we need to think beyond what the government is providing. Start thinking about what the private sector is also providing, and look at what
Mm.
best fits your use case.
I like that. I like that. Thank you so much, Guto. It's been a pleasure hosting you here today, and I hope you had a nice time. Forget about the network thing. The network cannot stop us, right?
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, right? We really appreciate you. Dolphins appreciate you. CeeC appreciate you. Thank you so much, Guto, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for
right.
joining, guys. Those that have joined and are still till this moment, thank you so much for joining. We appreciate you. Next week, we'll be back with the last speaker, yeah, and Mr. Chudi from Venco, and we know you're gonna enjoy yourself. So don't forget, and also please give that wish them a happy Christmas celebration. Oh, Kida is gone. So this is also to wish you a happy Christmas celebration and a new year. So while we're preparing, don't forget to start the payment plan with Gida today, so that next year you can be a landlord. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, guys, and have a wonderful day. Bye. Cheers.